Getting the vision in your head to translate on screen is always something that's fascinating me about filmmaking. When I was young, I used to like making war movies. I had my little HD camera and had my siblings and cousins run around with Nerf guns pretending like we're in battle. It's so silly, but that's what we did, and we had a great time doing it. It was really just kids playing, but I just happened to be recording our imagination. Oh god. Oh my god. Here we go. That 144p quality. Those classic stock gun sounds. The POV. It's all here. Oh my god. The Toby Mac songs. Yes. I remember this. Experimented with slow-mo. Yeah, we're gonna stop it there. Does watching old footage that you made ever make you cringe? Because it does for me. I cringe all the time watching the old stuff that I made. But then I look a little bit closer and I have to not judge myself so hard, because if it was someone else, I would look at it and say, hey, this isn't too bad. This kid is actually figuring some stuff out here. The images in my head were so vivid that watching these old videos back, it doesn't translate whatsoever, but I can see what I was going for when I was making it. The progress of where I started to where I'm at, it's crazy.
Please, sit. Mr. Martin is going to show us something real.
You've heard me talk about on the channel before, and if you follow me on Instagram, I've been posting about a recent film that I shot. This is Method, co-written and directed by me and my partner Ryan Stephen Holly. So that film is a proof of concept for a feature that we wrote, and we visualize what it's like for an actor to go into their process. And so one of the characters that the actor goes into in the proof of concept is a World War I soldier. And so when we set out to do this, it was a very simple monologue scene, but then in talking with Ryan and in talking with Waylon, a producer on the film, they really pushed to really make it as immersive as possible. Obviously, considering the audience in mind at the end, they're not going to care about budget, they're not going to care about constraints, they're just going to care about what the final picture shows. And so we decided we were going to make this as best as we could. I've been considering opening up a Patreon group or something to allow for more direct conversations. I'd love to talk to you guys more about filmmaking, see where you're at, where you're wanting to go, and if there's any questions that I can answer to help you out in a more personal and direct way, I'd love to do that. So let me know in the comments if that's something you guys are interested in. And yeah, we wanted to portray an authentic African American soldier in World War I, which severely limited our options to a few regiments. The most famous of which being the Harlem Hellfighters. They fought in France during World War I. They dealt with a lot of prejudice and racism within the US military, ultimately being essentially loaned out to the French command.
They wouldn't let us march in our own hometown parades before deployment, because to them, black isn't the color of the rainbow.
You know, growing up as a rite of passage, playing Army, but not only did it fulfill his boyhood dream, but as storytellers, it is our duty to honor and give a voice to the voiceless. And the Coast, the more we researched, the more we realized that nobody had told the Hellfighters story. And so we had to do this the right way. And the truth is the 369 Regiment was really the dawn of the civil rights movement. A lot of African Americans believed that if they enlisted in World War I, that Americans would realize African Americans as Americans and not 3/5. This whole sequence, in a way, it's like a dream sequence. It's our hero Gideon, his ability to actually go to these places, go to these roles. And so we had to make it as real as possible. When the Hellfighters went to war with the US Army, they were just doing manual labor until the French totally beleaguered. They needed reinforcements, and the French treated them as equals. We're shooting on 16mm. There's no digital action going here. So there's so many things that could have gone wrong. This is so exciting. I mean, it's so rare that something of this caliber has been done, especially with what we had or what we didn't have, our limitations.
We had to source things internationally to get the uniforms accurate. Hang on a second, let me show you something. So this is a French Adrian helmet. Comes in this cool horizon blue color. These are the breeches, wool and extremely itchy. Little ties at the bottom there. Here's the actual tunic. Everything's super detailed. Patch here, which we had custom made. This is a Harlem Hellfighter patch, or one of the variants that they would use. This is the belt and ammo packs. These are French issued, custom distressed by our amazing costume department, which is actually my cousin Blaine and his lovely girlfriend Ashley. They worked very hard on making everything look worn and used, because it comes with a really nice finish. There's a few other things, but the coolest by far is the weapons. Don't worry, it's not real. This is a Lebel 1886 French rifle. These you can't find anywhere. I called a bunch of prop houses to see if we could get prop ones first, and then obviously real ones are just not an option. Not only would we not use real ones, but they also just basically don't exist. At least that's what the prop guy told me, and my searches confirmed it. So worked with a 3D printing artist based in Canada to get the initial prints made, and then my dad and brother actually worked to hand paint, detail, and weather these things. And then obviously this has, you know, a bunch of dirt and gross stuff on it from being in the actual scene. This little bolt action thing actually works, which is funny, but probably one of my favorite pieces from the making and building of this film. So we sourced all our gear, test fitted with the actors, got things lined up. Now we had to find the location. There's literally nowhere that's gonna let you do a trench build. So my wife had the suggestion that, hey, why don't you put a post on Facebook and see if anyone's got any private property that lets you use. So that's what I did. I put a post out in a public group, one of the largest groups where I'm at, and one person responded, and they said, hey, we have some land that actually might work for you. I took her up on that, got the boys together who went out there, and we found a spot.
The question is, do we dig a trench here? I think we do. I think so. If you look up World War I trenches, a lot of the times they would create what's called shoring. So if you get mud and rain or a tank comes by, it doesn't actually implode on you. Once we got location, we were able to dig out the trench, and that was kind of the easier part. I think when you're doing a history piece in general, you have to go about it with a real authentic perspective. Oftentimes you'll see things that aren't done quite right, and you can feel that. These guys were out there for the longest on the Western Front out of any regiment. In the US side, for the scene, we needed it to feel like it had already been kind of battered a little bit. It just took a little bit of time to finagle, but once the trench was dug and the logs were in, I feel like we got pretty close to what was in all of our heads. And all of a sudden it was like, wow, we really are back in 1918.
It's day 3 of our 3 days of shooting this film, and we show up to location and it had rained the night before. There was a tremendous amount of mud for everyone to get through. Multiple cars got stuck. We have a little trailer that we're working out of in the middle of this mud field at this point. And so getting guys in and out of there and trying to keep them together and not getting super dirty and falling was an achievement in and of itself. Everyone's muddy and trudging through. It feels like real war here. We set up and we're able to start shooting.
A speeds. B speed. Marker.
It takes probably at least 20 minutes to get one person in uniform because it's a pretty detailed process. We're shuffling people in to the scene as they're getting ready because we're trying to make our day, just hustling. Nathan would equip them with their rifles that they need, and we were luckily able to get everyone in costume right as we were leading up to the main event. Entering the trench. Now, this is a scene I had been dreaming about for a while and had run through my head multiple times. We had a break for lunch, but it was during this time that I was doing a walkthrough of the trench that I noticed our son's positioning. And I said, this is perfect. Can we get the actors to do a walking lunch? We need to walk through this. We need to plan this now so we can shoot it while the lighting is perfect. We walked through the scene, handheld through the trench, following soldiers. We're working with 7 guys and we need to basically double it to make it look like we have soldiers coming in and soldiers already in the trench. So we quickly came up with an idea on the fly of how we're going to include a cut in there that's going to make those 2 shots seamlessly transition. So we had our protagonist enter the trench. He rounds a corner, he sees a dead German, he runs through, and just as a wounded soldier is coming at him from the other side, they bump into each other and he's kind of dazed. Then he makes his way up to the trench ladder and rallies on his troops when he blows his whistle, which is an accurate thing that was added last minute by Nathan, which was really impressive. We just managed to get the scene covered before we started losing sunlight, and it turned out better than I could have imagined. If we didn't have the film to prove it, I probably wouldn't believe it because it was so surreal. I can talk about it all day. I want to show you a little bit of that scene so you can see for yourself what we're able to pull off. Thank you for watching. Keep your childhood dreams alive. We'll catch you next time. Peace.
1918, we're in it, come on!
Okay, camera, and action! Tails. Right here. We got it. Yeah. Okay, cool.